What were you hoping to work on or explore when we started coaching together?
When we started the journey together, I was already at a bit of an impasse with my professional life and personal life, really, having recently stepped away from a career job and coming to the realization that I wanted to make a change and do something for myself because I wasn't feeling satisfied with my status quo working in a career capacity. And I'd always yearned for something bigger. And I'd always thought that I had the capacity to do something for myself anyway.
Mm.
And I was feeling a bit stuck as to what that would look like or how that would develop. And I guess lacking a bit of the self confidence to actually take it forward and do it. And I knew that having some kind of structure to discuss and explore options of what I actually wanted to do would help me get a framework together, both a framework of a plan to move forward, but also just a framework in my own head about what I'm actually going to do and why I want to do it, because it would align with my personal goals anyway, which would be more autonomous, more self-sufficient, have free time for myself, make decisions for myself, and ultimately just be satisfied with the decisions that I'm making in the short term now with and the decisions I made with you, allowing me to develop my more longer term goals.
What were your initial thoughts or feelings during the first few sessions?
So at the beginning, it was kind of difficult for me to really open up because I'm quite self-reliant in that respect anyway. And I've always done my best to just get on with stuff independently. So having the opportunity to share my thoughts and feelings about things that had happened or things that I want to do in the shorter term was odd for me because I don't normally do that with anybody.
Mm.
And it's it's that kind of vulnerability of almost exposing yourself to someone like that to say, I've struggled with X, Y, and Z, but I think that if I do A, B, and C now, that might help me, or maybe it wouldn't help me. And just having that back and forward dynamic with someone is a bit of a weird situation for me. So that was a hurdle to jump over, but I quickly appreciated how easy and calm it was communicating with you about these different aspects and the non-judgmental way that we would conduct ourselves and just have a very objective conversation was a really good sounding board for me to actually compartmentalize what had happened with my previous job and where I was currently and what I might want to do without you saying you should do this or you should do that. You just allowed me to really develop it myself quite organically, which I thought was quite refreshing because I don't like people telling me what to do. It needs to come from me.
Yeah.
And you offering that the foundation and framework for me to be open and come to those conclusions was very, very helpful.
What breakthroughs or shifts or changes have you noticed as a result of the coaching?
Definitely a big change in my self confidence and getting clarity on what I wanted and being able to action it is a big, big jump because I'm sure many people fall into the trap of having a realization of what they should do or what they want to do, but then
Mm.
having that follow through to actually go for it is completely different and a totally different outcome. And that was the biggest breakthrough for me, being able to formulate plans and discuss ideas with you, but then have the conviction to actually see it through and do something about it. So the biggest win for me was definitely rekindling my joy for my financial investing and trading. And that's quite a intense undertaking in itself because there's money on the line, but I've absolutely jumped back into it and I'm enjoying it again and succeeding at it again. And
Mm.
the small wins like that builds that confidence up to take risks into new things. And I'm starting to explore other ideas and look at other endeavors that I not necessarily would have chosen at the start, but I feel more equipped to explore them now. And that's both both interesting and quite daunting, but it's something that I'm looking forward to trying out. And I wouldn't have done that if it hadn't been for our sessions to really explore those together and build that framework up to follow it.
I remember in the first few sessions when you were talking about the trading and tiptoeing in baby steps and trying it out and gaining more confidence. But yeah, I just remember that what you said to me a few weeks ago when you were talking about how you started to put more money in, and in the month that you in the month that you were talking to me, you'd actually made something like double what you had made in your previous corporate job already in that month,
Exactly.
which
Exactly.
sounds
Yeah. And that's a very, very big positive step for me to be able to visualize that and see it in front of me as a culmination of the work that I put in, and remembering to myself, yeah, I can actually do this. And this is a viable option. It's not just some pipe dream. I think that's a tripping up point for many people, is having that conviction for the next step, because it doesn't need to be pipe dreams, and having someone like what we've been doing together, having someone to talk to about it, and basically having someone in your corner
mm.
who understands your position and wants to help you achieve it. It's quite empowering. So I'm very grateful for that.
How has our coaching impacted your personal life, work, and overall outlook?
It's impacted it massively, to keep it blunt and brief, because as I touched on earlier, I was in the best place when I lost that job, and I was starting to feel a bit frustrated and confused about where I wanted to take my life, and was I making the right decisions, and just having doubts, really having that self-doubt. And it really, it gets you down, because you think,
Mm.
I've made too many mistakes, and maybe this was one mistake too many, and I'm not going to come back from it. And that downward spiral can be quite toxic, but it's been uphill since then, really. I feel personally much more happy. I feel like I have my purpose back. I feel like I have my drive back. And it's nice to not feel like there's no options and you're just trapped in a cycle of despair. So I think that if I hadn't had even just someone, not necessarily to provide answers or questions to me, just someone to talk to about why I was feeling about certain things, or why
Mm.
I thought this and did that, or just having someone who can give me an outside perspective, that is so invaluable sometimes, because you can easily get trapped in your own self monologue, and you convince yourself that what you're thinking and feeling is the truth and is reality. And all it takes is someone else's point of view to make you think, oh yeah, that isn't necessarily correct. Let's try and explore a different perspective on that. So it's
Mm.
helped me immensely in that respect.
It can be a really lonely place when you're going through these sorts of life transitions. It can feel
Mm.
like, yeah, nothing makes sense. And then when you're in your own echo chamber without anyone to talk to, it can really take a toll on your mental health. Finally, what would you say to someone who's considering working with me or thinking about coaching in general?
Oh, so I think that's definitely something to narrow down into one very important point, which is you have to just trust the process, I think, and trust in the person that you're working with. So if someone was coming to work with you and was considering starting coaching, you just got to be open and trust it, because as I said, for me, it's not a normal thing to be that
Mm.
vulnerable and open up on personal toils or personal triumphs, career problems, all those kind of things. That's just not how I operate. And I'm glad that I did, because I'm better off for it. And people should just be willing to take that risk and just come to the table with anything that they might need help with, and have someone like yourself who's not going to judge, who's unbiased, impartial, objective, has very insightful and helpful perspectives on various topics, and just see where it takes them, because you need to just have the gumption to jump in and roll the dice. Otherwise, you never know what's going to happen. And I think it would be extremely beneficial for many people if they had the the time and the willingness to put this work in, because it pays dividends, I think, and I can't recommend it enough.